you kind of left Ritz Camera. You're a wedding photographer. And was there any plan for, like, what was the plan for Fstoppers? When you guys launched the site, what was your idea of it?
So a couple of things. One thing was I was starting to realize who I looked up to in my life. And I started to realize that, like, for instance, I started assisting photographers whose work I found to be amazing, right? Mm-hmm. But after working for them for a few weeks and seeing what they did, they weren't
lost the shine,
magical anymore. Yeah, it was just like they're like, I could do that, right? And I'd watch them negotiate with the clients, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, they're asking for a ton of money, more money than I would ever dream to ask, but they're doing it with such confidence. And I'm looking like they're getting $5,000 and then doing a photo shoot in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I want to do this, you know. And then I started going online, and Strobist was big back then, and I never felt like I love David Hobby's tutorials and stuff that he put on his website, but I never felt like his photography was mind-blowing or anything.
Yeah.
And then Chase Jarvis came out, and Chase Jarvis was like the first high-end commercial photographer who was making behind-the-scenes videos. Before that, everyone was kind of hiding their techniques and stuff.
For sure.
And part of it was just harder to film content.
Easy. Yeah.
And there was nowhere to put it. You know, this is kind of like when YouTube was just coming out and stuff. But I started watching these Chase Jarvis videos, and I was like, man, these videos are awesome. This is the content that I've always been interested in, that I keep reading Strobist to try to like figure out how people are lighting images and stuff. But now I can see it, and I don't have to read because I'm lazy. So I just approached Patrick. We were just buddies at the time. And I was like, look, I got this URL called Fstoppers. I own a ton of URLs that I never do anything with. And I said, let's make a Strobist type website, but instead of written post, let's do behind the scenes videos. That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
But I do also remember telling him, I was like, I bet if we just put ourselves out there, I bet we could become well-known in the industry like Chase Jarvis. Like, we're never going to be as famous like commercial photographers as him. That was never our goal. But maybe we could become just as well-known within the photography community as him. It just comes down to like just putting stuff out there, and we'll try to do our best to make good content. And but it was we never thought you could make money doing it. I thought in my mind, like, maybe we'll get like a camera before it comes out or something. Maybe that was like the peak of my imagination of what could come true, you know? And then maybe like a year or two in, we made our first tutorial with Peter Hurley that we sold.
Yeah.
And it just made a lot of money, and we just never thought that would be possible. And then maybe a year after that, or 2 years after that, I don't know, we started making more money with Fstoppers than we were with our wedding business. And then we did both for a while, but then, you know, a few years ago, we just decided like, let's
just focus.
It's better to focus on Fstoppers.
That's rad, dude. I feel like a lot of like what I've been doing recently is kind of trying to help and coach photographers and just entrepreneurs and creatives that want to kind of like get out and start and do something. And one of the craziest things is that people spend really a ton of time in this planning process, and they want like their product to be perfect. They want their plan to be perfect. They want everything to be dialed into this like level of perfection that's just impossible. And they almost like perpetually wait. And so I was very curious to hear like if your take on it was similar to Patrick's, and it is. It's very similar in that you have an idea of where you want to go, but then you just got out and actually started doing something. You were creating content and starting to move and starting to create. But
yeah, and I don't think I would have done it without Patrick. I think I would have lost steam. But when I would lose steam, he would be like, "Hey, man, I'm coming over. We got to film a video," and vice versa. And so I think that's the only way we were able to push through, you know, that first like maybe 3 to 6 months when the website didn't exist, but we were teaching ourselves to make the website, and we were teaching ourselves how to edit video and film video and act in video. And then we had to come up with these photo shoot ideas from scratch and like come up with content to make all the time. it's fun for a second, but then like a lot of what's fun about producing things is putting it out into the world and then getting a response.
For sure.
But at the beginning of Fstoppers, there was no Fstoppers. So we were just making content and holding on to it and waiting, counting down the day until like maybe when we post this, someone will see it, but probably not.
Yeah.
And if I had to do it by myself, I probably wouldn't have followed through.